Before the world understood what was happening, headlines exploded with one unbelievable image. Dennis Rodman, one of the most controversial and unpredictable players in NBA history, sitting courtside in Pyongyang next to Kim Jong-un, the secretive leader of North Korea. This was a place where American diplomats rarely stepped foot, a nation buried behind decades of isolation, nuclear tension, and strict control. Yet here was Rodman, a five-time NBA champion known for chaos, rebellion, wild hairstyles, and public controversy, suddenly becoming the unexpected bridge between two countries locked in conflict. The world watched in shock as Rodman entered North Korea not as a politician, not as a diplomat, but as a former basketball star who believed the power of sports could open doors no one else could. How did this friendship happen? Why did Kim Jong-un choose Rodman? And what did this strange relationship mean for the world? This is the real story behind one of the most surreal diplomatic moments in modern history.
America has just witnessed a truly strange encounter. Who became the first American to meet with the new leader of North Korea? The wild child of basketball, Dennis Rodman. Right there, splashed all over the front page of the newspaper.
North Korea, basketball, and Kim Jong-un's secret obsession. Long before Rodman ever boarded a plane, a lesser-known truth shaped everything. Kim Jong-un was a die-hard basketball fanatic. As a teenager studying in Switzerland, he watched NBA tapes obsessively. His favorite team was the 1990s Chicago Bulls dynasty, and his favorite player was Michael Jordan. Reports from former classmates and later intelligence briefings confirmed that basketball was Kim's deepest Western fascination. North Korea, despite its isolation, understood the global soft power of sports and occasionally used cultural events to influence international opinion. So when Kim Jong-un assumed power in 2011, he brought his love of basketball with him, building indoor courts, encouraging youth leagues, and even commissioning murals of his favorite players. To him, basketball wasn't just entertainment, it was a symbol of American excellence he admired from afar. This obsession would play a major role in his unusual interest in Dennis Rodman. In early 2013, Vice Media planned a documentary centered on basketball diplomacy, using the Harlem Globetrotters as a way to explore life inside North Korea. Producing anything inside the country required careful negotiation, but North Korean officials surprisingly approved a basketball exhibition. Vice then contacted Rodman, one of the most recognizable and controversial NBA figures, to join the documentary team. At the time, Rodman was not involved in politics and had no diplomatic mission. His participation was simply meant to add star power to the documentary. Yet this trip, intended as a media experiment, evolved into something far more historic. Neither Vice nor Rodman expected this opportunity to place him face-to-face with a world leader. But Kim Jong-un had already taken notice. One of Michael Jordan's teammates was coming to North Korea. For Kim, this wasn't a celebrity visit, it was a dream. The first meeting with Kim Jong-un. When Rodman arrived in Pyongyang in February 2013, he immediately became a guest of honor. During the exhibition game arranged by Vice, Kim Jong-un attended with high-ranking officials and personally invited Rodman to sit beside him. This was an unprecedented moment, an American sitting next to Kim inside an arena full of North Korean citizens. Throughout the game, they shared conversations about basketball history, the Chicago Bulls, and the sport that connected their worlds. After the exhibition concluded, Rodman famously told Kim, "You have a friend for life." The quote instantly made global headlines, sparking outrage, curiosity, and disbelief. The U.S. State Department clarified that Rodman was not representing the government in any way. But in that single moment, Rodman had become the first American to develop a personal relationship with Kim Jong-un. For North Korea, the image was symbolic power. For the rest of the world, it was baffling. And for Rodman, it marked the beginning of an unlikely bond. What Rodman saw inside North Korea. Throughout his visit, Rodman was escorted on a carefully controlled tour of Pyongyang. He later said publicly that he saw only what officials wanted him to see: monuments, well-maintained boulevards, government-approved attractions, and hand-picked audiences. He attended banquets, visited sports facilities, and even celebrated privately with Kim and other officials. Rodman repeatedly mentioned that the treatment was lavish and choreographed, with guards, interpreters, and handlers everywhere. He described the capital as beautiful but restricted, a place designed to conceal as much as it revealed. Kim Jong-un presented himself not as a dictator, but as a basketball-loving host eager to bond over shared interests. This controlled hospitality was part of a long-standing strategy: present North Korea in the most favorable light possible to foreign visitors, especially those with global influence. Rodman later admitted he didn't fully understand the political implications at the time. He simply believed he was engaging in cultural exchange built around sports. But the world saw something different: global backlash and criticism. Rodman's first trip triggered intense criticism across the globe. The U.S. government immediately distanced itself, stating they had no involvement whatsoever. Human rights organizations condemned Rodman for praising Kim Jong-un during interviews, arguing that he was being used as a propaganda tool. The North Korean regime faced international criticism for human rights violations, political prison camps, and suppression of freedoms. For critics, Rodman calling Kim his friend was deeply problematic. Yet Rodman insisted his trip was about sports, not politics. He said he wasn't trying to defend the regime but believed personal relationships could reduce tension. Still, backlash grew. News outlets questioned his judgment. Analysts warned that North Korea was using Rodman's celebrity to soften its global image. Rodman became a polarizing figure, hailed by some as a cultural bridge and condemned by others as naive. But the controversy did not stop him from returning. Rodman returned to North Korea in September 2013, meeting Kim again and solidifying their unusual friendship. But his most controversial moment came in December 2013, when he organized a basketball exhibition for Kim Jong-un's birthday. Rodman arrived with a group of former NBA players to participate in what he called a basketball diplomacy mission.
Happy birthday to you.
During the event, Rodman sang "Happy Birthday" to Kim Jong-un in front of thousands, a moment that went viral worldwide. The spectacle sparked even greater disapproval back in the US, but North Korea celebrated it as a diplomatic triumph. Shortly after, Rodman appeared on CNN in a now infamous interview where he became emotional and angry when questioned about American prisoner Kenneth Bay. Days later, Rodman apologized, stating he was under stress and had been drinking before the interview. Despite controversies, he continued to defend the trip as an effort to open dialogue through sports rather than politics. The Kenneth Bay controversy. The Kenneth Bay issue marked the most serious fallout from Rodman's visits. Bay, a Korean-American missionary, had been imprisoned in North Korea on charges of alleged hostile acts against the state. During the heated CNN exchange, Rodman seemed to imply Bay was responsible for his own imprisonment, sparking outrage from Bay's family and the public. Rodman later apologized directly, saying he spoke emotionally and did not fully understand the situation. This moment deepened criticism of his involvement with North Korea. Analysts argued that Rodman's lack of political awareness made him vulnerable to manipulation. Still, Rodman insisted that his intention had always been to build cultural connections, not to comment on political matters he didn't grasp. Despite global tensions, Rodman and Kim Jong-un maintained communication. In later interviews, Rodman claimed Kim expressed genuine affection for basketball culture and enjoyed their conversations. In 2017, Rodman returned to North Korea once again, bringing gifts including sports equipment and a copy of Donald Trump's Art of the Deal. The trip came at a time of heightened nuclear tension between the U.S. and North Korea, making Rodman's presence even more controversial. He stated that Kim viewed their bond as strictly personal and rooted in sports, not politics. Whether this was entirely true or partly orchestrated remains debated, but Rodman was undeniably given access that no other American celebrity had received. In 2018, when President Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un met in Singapore for a historic diplomatic summit, Rodman once again found himself in the spotlight. Although he was not officially part of the summit, he publicly supported the meeting. Rodman appeared on live television wearing a "Make America Great Again" hat and broke down in tears, claiming he had tried for years to promote communication. His emotional appearance made headlines, reinforcing his strange but undeniable connection to North Korea's diplomatic narrative. Some analysts suggested Rodman indirectly influenced early outreach by helping humanize the idea of communication for both sides. Others argued his involvement was symbolic at best. Regardless, his presence in the conversation reflected just how unusual his relationship with Kim had become. What experts say about this relationship. Scholars and analysts remain divided about Rodman's impact. Some believe he unintentionally opened small channels of communication by building personal rapport with Kim, demonstrating that North Korea responded positively to cultural diplomacy. Others argue the regime used Rodman to gain positive media coverage and portray Kim as a relatable leader. Both perspectives acknowledge one truth: Rodman's visits were not typical celebrity trips. They became part of a geopolitical narrative between nations locked in decades of hostility. Today, Rodman remains the only American publicly known to have repeated personal access to Kim Jong-un. His trips created unusual moments that blended sports, politics, culture, and controversy. Whether intentional or accidental, Rodman became a figure inserted into one of the most complex diplomatic landscapes in the world. His legacy is debated. Was he manipulated, or did he genuinely help ease tension? What's certain is that no other sports figure has created a friendship as bizarre and globally significant as Rodman's connection to the North Korean leader. Dennis Rodman walked into North Korea as a retired basketball star and walked out as one of the most unexpected diplomatic players of his generation. His journey wasn't planned, polished, or political. It was messy, emotional, and complicated. Yet it revealed something no one predicted: the power of culture to break barriers that politics could not. Rodman's story remains one of the strangest chapters in modern history, a reminder that sometimes the world changes in ways no one can predict. And it all began with one unlikely friendship, built not in a boardroom, but on a basketball court.